the biggest questions that every parent is grappling with at around this time during admissions time for the next year's admission is what board to choose for the child, and it becomes most of the time the biggest deciding factor to choose a school, right? And one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do this presentation for the parents was that it is not the one and the same thing, and I will of course take you into the presentation and share why, but let us get more clarity into what is exactly the role of a board. So if we look at today, what all are we going to effectively cover today is the first thing that we plan to cover is where does a board typically fit into your child's education. How much of a role does a board play in choosing the school for your child? Then what are the different kind of boards available to us in India, and what is the structural or the philosophical difference in those boards? Then how do you find the right fit for your child? So just choosing the board is not really enough. A lot of times there are layers on top of that which gets you to the right fit in terms of a school for your child. So all these three things we are going to cover once we enter the session. All right, so let's begin. Okay, before we even discuss a board, let's talk about what is really the goal of education. So if you think about it, we are trying to give our children a very strong character, add knowledge, and then give them the skills to use that knowledge, and that is what we typically call education, right? And the way education is given to the children is through schools. Now schools do it in multiple different layers and different ways. However, of course we understand the first three, but if you look at number of children per class, that is a very important factor which helps a school deliver education effectively. Personalization. Then what else is a school giving the child? What exposure is a child getting when the child is in the school? Peer learning. How is the school enabling children to work with each other or learn from each other and grow? So effectively the school becomes a vehicle in which the education is imparted. Now let's question then how did even we start discussing boards in the first place, right? So if you look at the 6 ways a school is educating a child, the first 2 are the ones that are governed by the board: the curriculum and the curriculum delivery. So typically a board or the implementation of the board by the school just covers the first 2 things: what is the curriculum, what are the books, what is the content that is being taught, and then how are we going to assess that on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, or maybe over the next 6 years. So those 2 are the only 2 things that are completely prescribed by the board. If we look at the remaining 4, which is teacher quality, number of children per class, the extracurricular and peer learning, that is actually in control of the school. That is a school's own philosophy. Sorry, it just moved ahead, give me a second. Yes, we are here. Okay, so that is the school's own philosophy, and how well is the school executing that. Those 4 factors are governed by that. Now let's look at what really brings in a board into the picture, right? So let's look at what a real learning system looks like in the larger picture. So you have the real world where we send out the children eventually. Before that is the college education where the children are being prepared to go into that real world, and a step before that is school when the child is just exploring what learning really is. Now in this real world again, if we look at what really matters, so let's look at what happened 50 years ago. Now 50 years ago in India, or anywhere, knowledge was the key thing that determined how well you do in life or how successful you are in life. If you had the knowledge of things, because of the disparity of knowledge in the world, you were considered smart, the companies valued you, your jobs valued you. And similarly, to cater to that, the college education, sorry, it's just moving back and forth. Yes, and similarly, the college education used to cater to all aspects to build knowledge in the children. And taking that step back, the schools used to be completely focused on knowledge and imparting little bit of skills in the process. And to test that, there was so what happened was, when the whole process was built around seeking knowledge first, the boards that were created initially in India also catered to knowledge or giving contextual information. Now the job readiness was testing how much do you really know, or how much information do you really have. And similarly, the schools and the boards were preparing you for entrance examinations, where your theoretical knowledge, informational knowledge, how much do you know about books, and how well are you able to replicate it out on the textbooks, on the notebooks, in the exams. That is what used to matter. So the first board in India was created, which was CBSE. Now, going into the details of CBSE, because it was catering to giving children a lot of information, focusing on theory, and preparing the children for the competitive exams in the future, everything was done in a very theoretical way. It was a very structured program. It was very, very book oriented, and the assessments had very clear objectives, that this is what we ask you and this is what we want in return when you give us the exam papers. So because of that structure, children over time started preparing in a way that they theoretically grabbed all the information, sometimes rote learned, to reproduce it. But then, after that, over a few years, ICSE evolved, which kind of fixed some of the gaps from CBSE. It started focusing a little more on job readiness. It started focusing on language proficiency, because the importance of communication came into the picture. And the ICSE worked on giving each subject equal importance. So languages also became more important when the curriculum was being taught in the schools. Whereas in CBSE, because it was competitive exam based, there was a very high focus on mathematics and sciences only. But then what happened? This is something we are talking about the last 25 years ago. Then the scenario in the world started changing with introduction of internet, with all the knowledge. So you had a huge knowledge disparity before that, informational disparity. But with access to internet and globalization, everybody had knowledge on their fingers. And slowly the kind of jobs that started coming up changed. Now the jobs needed you not to only have knowledge, but also have skills to be able to use that knowledge efficiently. So if you see, the skills started being valued in the real world, and this started happening maybe in the West first, in the US, in some European countries, in Australia. And then even the college education in these countries started changing to more skill-based courses, more skill-based curriculums, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning. And with this whole with whole changing landscape, the international boards changed. Outside India, a lot of education evolved in a way that they were now teaching children to focus on skills from when they were in colleges, or even before that in schools. Um, then came IGSE, IGCSE, and IB boards. Now, if you see, IGCSE evolved a little further, and it focused very strongly on interest driven subject expertise. What that means is that the child has to have a lot of interest while learning a particular subject, and develop a specialization in that. Because when the child develops a specialization, that is exactly when a child is able to bring that concept further ahead. Now, with that whole changing landscape, even in CBSE in India, the NEP came into the picture. Just because everything around us is changing so fast, and so are the jobs, so are the requirements that these jobs want from our children. So NEP made certain changes in 2020, which majorly included adding a skill-based curriculum. And these changes are already in motion in some of the schools. They have been adopted already in until grade 6 and beyond. So this is the biggest change that happened. Now I have reached almost the mid of the presentation. If anybody has any questions, I can stop at this point. Till now, I was majorly giving you the context of why boards even existed and what each board was trying to do. Here, I will stop for a while, and I will take you into the details of each and every board that we are assessing for our children at this point. So if anybody has any question, I can pause for a few seconds. Otherwise, I'll go on. Okay, all right. So I'll continue. Good. So, okay, so the first board we are going to be discussing is CBSE. All right, we have already established that CBSE was made to typically cater to the Indian examinations, the most competitive examinations in India like JEE, NEET. Okay, so I will take you through what the biggest pros of this board are. That if you are actually looking to get your child into an entrance exam right after 12th, you have that clarity already, and your child also at this age is showing some interest in engineering, and you want the child to continue in India, then CBSE would be a wonderful board to go for, because it is absolutely aligned with what the competitions test in a child. Secondly, it is a very affordable board compared to IB and IGCSE, the international boards. And thirdly, if you have a job which moves around across the country, then this CBSE board gives you a major advantage, because you will be able to find a CBSE board school in most parts of the country. Um, but there are some gaps that we will also discuss. There is a very limited and strong focus on maths and on science, because these two are majorly forming the curriculum of the exams as well, the entrance exams. Hence, very strong focus on maths and science. And rote learning is the biggest method used for even solving maths problems. Science, children are learning, mugging up, rote learning in a way, with very less emphasis on really understanding the concept, because the curriculums are huge and they focus on clear objectives in terms of examination and assessments. So these limitations in in CBSE, if you see, are actually slowly covered in ICSE board. Now let's look at what ICSE board's biggest pros are. So it is a very balanced board in terms of the weight it puts on each of the different subjects. So there is a very strong focus on sciences, on history, civics, geography, and the way it also combines the curriculum. There is a practical aspect to it, which they are, at the age of grade 10, in the grade 10 classes, they are testing how a child is doing in practicals and theory separately. And also they really focus very strongly on languages, specifically English, because they have a very planned and vast curriculum to cover in English, where they give the child exposure to prose, to literature, in poems, in stories, different kind of stories, and Shakespeare. So it is a very vast curriculum. The downside of that becomes a very intense workload for our children. The syllabus is huge. It covers in-depth concepts and in-depth topics on almost all subjects. So what that does to a child is, it really becomes rigorous for maybe not that much value at the end of the day. And it is practical, but hands-on learning is not included. There are no project-based learning that the child does. It tilts towards CBSE in a way that it also becomes very bookish and very contextual in some form. And skills is definitely not the top focus when we are talking about an ICSE board. Are children really developing logical thinking when math is being taught is not something an ICSE board really looks at. But they would definitely go into the details and talk about each and every topic, and make the child practice a lot of math, practice a lot in terms of sciences, the experiments that they're doing. So it's very intense. Now, the next board is IGCSE. IGCSE is the name of the examination, and it's the Cambridge board. So, all right. So, what does IGCSE do very well is the emphasis on inquiry based learning. Now, inquiry based learning makes a child question a lot of things. So, in effect, the child is getting the concept really, really well and deep down. And the Cambridge board curriculum, the books, they are made in a way that the child is able to actually question, learn, and then even implement that to the next concept in a way that the child develops this skill. Now when we talk about collaboration, when we talk about curiosity, there are chapters in IGCSE with particular emphasis on, okay, through this particular topic, the child should be able to eventually show this, which means they're testing the skills at every point. And one of the biggest advantages of IGCSE is the wide, the plethora of choice that it gives to the child in terms of subjects that the child can choose at the later age as well. So at grade 9 and grade 10, the child can have a really good combination of subjects without really studying the subjects that the child, one, doesn't want to pursue in the future, or two, is not interested in at all. So it gives the child a lot of leeway around learning, and at the same time IGCSE also gives the school a lot of leeway around implementation of these subjects with just prescribing the final outcomes. Now the gaps in IGCSE are, one, the fees is higher compared to other national boards like CBSE and ICSE, and for the reason that the teacher trainings in IGCSE are very intense, because being able to teach children through inquiry based learning really requires skilled teachers. So the in effect, the higher fees are a part of the quality of the program and the teacher training. The second thing is, in tier 2 cities, most of the tier 2 cities have lesser IGCSE schools. However, all the metro cities in India have approximately in all around 400 to 500 IGCSE schools. Now the next one is IB. IB differs from rest of the schools because it is absolutely in line with what is happening outside the country. Now it is globally recognized in a way that if a child moves to Singapore and goes to an IB school, or a child moves to US and goes to an IB school, the curriculum that the child is covering here will be picked up from exactly there. So it is absolutely aligned in that way, and it works a lot on children with respect to real world context. What that means is that when a child is learning a particular topic, there is very intense project work, so which actually is a transdisciplinary format that IB follows for the first few years, where there are no subjects. A child is effectively learning a topic on a whole, and it includes a lot of research on the part of the children, which makes them very, very research oriented. And in the future, when the children want to go and apply to universities outside India,